Welcome to the Hamsi Analytics Daily Market Commentary. I'm Pablo Navarro. Today is Friday, August 31st, 2012. For the market internals, the New York Stock Exchange Advanced Decline Differential closed at 1,183. Nasdaq Advanced Decline Differential closed at 629. There was 8 new 52-week highs for the S&P 500 and 2 new 52-week lows for the S&P 500. Very weak market internals here despite the rally that we had on the market. Only 8 new 52-week highs for the S&P 500 and the number of 52 weeks low, which was good. For the volatility, 35,000 contracts traded on the VIX today with 23 million in total premiums paid. This is very low volume here. For the dollar weighted put call ratio in September, we saw 0.57, which is neutral with 31% of the total premiums paid. On October, a 0.59, which is neutral with 25% of the total premiums paid. And in November, we saw 1.26, which is another neutral reading with 16% of the total premiums paid here. Here we have the daily chart for SPX. We can see here we have a big update today after Ben Bernanke spoke, gave some comments, and the market started to rally. We ended up 7 points for the day at 1406.58. That was the close here for the week on SPX. You could notice here we closed right at 0 sigma on the daily chart. This is going to be a critical pattern here to see if we're going to break here and maybe come and test the highs of the year. Looking for a 1426, that's going to be the target on the upside. And or if we're going to bounce back lower, maybe go to the 1380 level if we do get a bounce back to the downside. So here we're just gonna have to watch here what happens to the market because of this rally, but not closing at the highs of the day. For the weekly chart, here we have the weekly chart on SPX, and you can see here how interesting. Of course, we bounced up exactly off our trend line that we had here, and that was the low for the day. That was also the low for the week, which was very interesting. Here we could see we continue to be on the positive 2 sigma channel on the weekly, and it's gonna be very important that we hold this trend line here to the upside next week. That's gonna be around 1406, 1410. That's gonna be the low side here. We're starting to see on CI weeklies that CI is flattening. Still we have a positive CI, but it's starting to flatten out, so that's going to be critical to watch. If we start to turn to the downside, maybe get some more bearish here. But that was overall what we got here on SPX. Let's go to SPY. Here we have SPY. Here the weekly chart for SPY, pretty much the same, but the important thing here is that we have a red CI and now we're turning flat. Pretty much what happened on the daily chart right before we started to roll down, so we're gonna have to be very careful here on the long side. Now that CI is starting to flatten out and it's red. Our levels to watch is 136 on the downside. That's 0 sigma on the weekly chart. Of course, this is gonna take longer because this is a weekly chart. A couple of weeks here to test this downside if we go down. And on the upside, we're looking for 144. That's gonna be our next upper target here. Looking at the daily chart, we talked about this very tight volatility here, maybe setting up for a breakdown or breakout. So we're just gonna have to watch and wait and see which side are we actually going to break. Look, you can see here how tight the sigma channels are right now. So basically the levels are very narrow here. We already got some levels on the weekly chart that are gonna be better here because of this tightness on the sigma level. CI clearly going lower here, and we have up to flat SPY today. You could see here another red day on CI diff and continues to expand lower. That's not very positive for the market, but are still holding the 0 sigma, which is somewhat a good sign. We wanted to break out on the 142, 143 level here on SPY daily chart. Now let's go to the GLD. Very interesting action today on the metals. After Bernanke spoke, you could see here the reaction test third time. The 200-day moving average slightly broke it, and after that we just took off. We took off to the upside, making an outside day reversal to the upside, and we hit the 164 level we talked about that was gonna be target, and that was weekly support number two, resistance number two. I'm sorry. So we have a great day here for GLD, finishing at the highs of the day, 164, clear breakout from here. We talked about it, and from here on we have 5 more points we already took here. We are right now setting up for a potential bounce longer term on GLD after this big reversal we're getting from the lows. Here we could see we are almost touching positive 3 sigma on the weekly chart. That's gonna be our target here, 166. Very important here, and you could see how we started turning out after we started trying to break 0 sigma on the weekly chart. We tried here, but we failed. Tried again here, failed. And here we confirmed this breakout with a huge volume, and we confirmed this week after Bernanke spoke. That was the only thing that was having gold stop here to look back. So now that Bernanke is gone and the speech is out, we're probably going to head higher on GLD. CI perfectly pointing higher. CI diff same here, building up momentum. We're just gonna quickly look at SLV, silver ETF. Pretty much in here for silver ETF. Pretty nice breakout now at 30.79, and we're looking for 32.30s. Those are gonna be the targets on the weekly chart. That's of course a longer term view here on the market, but that's gonna be the upper range. On the downside, still looking for 27.90 as being some support, 0 sigma, and gonna be critical to watch here the metals. Last chart we're gonna look is VIX. Here we have the weekly chart for the VIX, and you can see here we tried to rally today, but not much going on here on the weekly chart for the VIX. We closed at 17.47, and we're still below 0 sigma. We had a couple of red weeks here, a lot of them, and now it looks like we're starting to find a bottom and try to go higher. Our levels 21.66 and 25. Those are the levels we're looking on the upside for the VIX. And remember, we still have lots of things coming next week and on September from the ECB and the Eurozone. So we're gonna have to watch the VIX. You can see how CI is crossing here. We are gonna have a crossover here, which is bullish here for the VIX and not for the market. That's gonna be critical to watch. We have a special offer by TradeStation. Get your Hamsey Analytics proprietary indicators paid by TradeStation. Contact Active Traders office in Chicago, Peter Albino, at the number listed below. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you Tuesday.